Hey there, it's Ben Hyde here for BCC Hardware, and today we're taking a look at the Blackberry KEYone Black Edition phone. The purpose of this part of the review is going to be just taking a quick look through the device here. We have got full pictures, of course, up in our review, but as far as the device, it's a nice textured finish on the back. It's got your power button on this side, and over here on this side you've got your volume up down and your convenience key, which we will talk more about that in a bit. So for now, we're just going to power it on. A lot of times people ask in the review, how fast does it turn on? So we'll do that while we talk about a few more things. One of the features of this device is the fact that it actually has a nice front camera. The ambient light sensor is on the front as well. Not in a place where I actually like it at all. It actually is quite inconvenient, and we'll maybe be able to demonstrate that some through the review here as well. One of the other things there that I'm not too thrilled about before we get in here. See if we got that right. Checking, probably no. Yeah, there we go. Starting Android. So one of the other things is the physical keyboard. Out of the box, not the greatest setup, but after a few settings, it works quite well. So we've got a single rear-facing camera, not the dual rear-facing like a lot of phones have now. Nice flash that works quite well. Front-facing camera, ambient light sensor. I guess as this finishes booting up, you'll notice that on the screen here, at the bottom of the screen, what we've got are some physical buttons on the screen. A lot of phones have dynamic buttons that rotate as your phone screen rotates. These do not, for better or for worse. So we're just going to boost up the brightness here so we can run through this thing a little bit. While the phone screen brightness looks good in here, outdoors in the real world, the screen actually isn't as bright as something like the Galaxy S8, which I will show here for a size comparison. So both of these devices are roughly the same size. You know, they're awful close. So if you're wondering how big is the Blackberry KEYone, it's about the same size as an S8. So we'll run through a few things here on the device. I've been using it for almost a month now, so I've got my own apps and stuff installed on it, so it's very personal, very mine. But some of the Blackberry Key features are, they've got this little, you can kind of see it, kind of reminiscent of a Samsung Edge phone, where you've got a little bit of a panel there that you can swipe over, and then you've got your quick access to your calendar, your recent messages, your tasks, and contacts as well. So you've got that going on for you. Other features that BlackBerry offers are this Detect. It's a way that they can secure the device, make sure that you've got, proper, I guess, software checking, making sure that your device is not being compromised by weird third-party applications or something like that. So that seems to work, I guess. I really have no way of saying if it's secure from a third-party standpoint or not, but it seems to be. You got your app list. Fairly uneventful app list there, but some of the other BlackBerry things you've got going on here are the BlackBerry Hub, which shows all of your information, all of your calls, everything all in one spot, which is actually a really nice way to access everything. One thing that I do really appreciate about it, more than most people would, I'm coming from, previously I've owned a lot of Nexus phones, and the BlackBerry OS they use on here, it's basically stock Android. I mean, even the settings function, it's not all skinned weird like Samsung stuff is. It's a very, very basic, very easy to navigate if you're used to stock Android. So you've got BlackBerry Messenger, you've got a few other BlackBerry specific applications other than just Detect, but overall, fairly plain Jane. One thing that I thought was actually really awesome with this phone was the BlackBerry Help. If you have issues trying to migrate to a different phone like this, and the content transfer was almost a little too good. It copied everything that was backed up through Google, so all of my apps, even data stored in some of my apps, if they support that, was all backed up and restored on this phone immediately, and I could use it just as I was using my other phone right off the bat. So here on this screen, on the far right screen, you've got access to a bunch of BlackBerry stuff here that I referred to earlier. So you can actually just one-click compose emails. You've got your view alarms. You compose your BlackBerry Messenger right from here, rather than just opening up this, choosing a contact, and therefore it actually works quite well. Overall, pretty happy with it. Probably the big thing you've tuned in to watch here is to see how the physical keyboard on the BlackBerry works. And we're going to just take a moment here and show you how that works. So we're going to launch a bit of a note here and take a bit of a note. And hopefully you'll be able to see what's going on here as we type. But one thing that's pretty nifty about this here is that, that as you type, as we type, you'll see that words down here are suggested words. Hopefully you can see that on YouTube there. But as you type, we're going to just start typing. So it changes things on the fly. And what I can do here, if I want to choose a word that is suggested, I either swipe to the right, or the right, the middle, or the left to choose that word. So if I want to type this, email address is... Then we start typing website here, and then it comes on as a choice. So I just swipe up, it completes the word, double space, enters a period. So when it comes right down to it, I mean, it's looking clunky, kind of one hand here on camera, I'm watching lots of things. But as far as, it's super simple, super quick to use, and I'm actually very happy with this keyboard. Keep in mind though, that this did not actually come like this out of the box. I had to go into the keyboard settings and choose it to be like this, which is weird. This is the big thing they're bragging about with the Blackberry KEYone, and yet this option to do this style of keyboard was not enabled out of the box. Out of the box, you'd hit a keyboard to come up with, and then it would come up with this on-screen keyboard that would eat up about a third of your screen, which this screen is kind of a weird aspect ratio, so it'd eat up about a third of the screen, and you'd have no swipe up options available. You try that, and it assumed you were doing swipe to type, like a SwiftKey style keyboard, and it just was not working. So, you know, it's weird how some of those features out of the box weren't really enabled. Another thing that's weird is this convenience key. If you push it by accident, it goes to the camera by default. You can change it to up to 3 different settings. However, not really convenient to be doing something, and you go to change your volume, and then suddenly, oh, I launched the camera when I was trying to, you know, raise the volume or lower the volume in Amazon Music. I go to try and do that. It's like, oh, I want to make sure it's not loud. Oh crap! I'm just fired up my freaking camera again. Huge pet peeve. Also, when you're on a phone call, it conveniently mutes your microphone if you push that. So when you hold the phone, I hold my phone in my right hand. Maybe Steve Jobs would say I'm holding it wrong, but I hold my phone in my right hand, hold it up to my face, and quite often I'll push the button, mute myself, the other party assumes they've dropped the call. Or it's in your pocket on a headset, you bump the button, it mutes your microphone. You can reassign stuff to the convenience key as far as shortcuts go, but you cannot change it. I've seen a place where you cannot change it to change it from that mute feature. One thing I guess you'll notice here what just happened there, when whoop, that's not the power button, that's convenient. Power button's over there. Fingerprint sensor in the space bar. So you register your fingerprints, comes on. Perfect place for the fingerprint sensor, horrible place for the convenience key. Put it up higher so you're not accidentally pressing it. Thank you very much, BlackBerry, for that one. Because of this weird aspect ratio of this screen, some applications for the Google Play Store are not able to figure out this weird aspect ratio. For instance, when I tried to launch this Hornady application to do ballistics calculations for long-range shooting, I do not yet have an account for this. And if I had a phone with a taller screen, I would see a place below, right below here, where it would say create account. So one, that is a problem for the application, but two, with a weird aspect ratio that nobody else is really using on a device like this, it falls short as far as what we expect it to do. Overall, gosh, I really, really want to love this phone. The battery life on it is absolutely stellar. With phone screen on, it says 9 hours left. The reality is I get 2 full days of light to medium use, day and a half of medium to heavy use. Even when I've been playing games on it a bunch, just to really push the battery, I still get more than a day. At midnight, it'll still have 40% battery life left, which is absolutely incredible in this day and age. So the Snapdragon 6 series processor in here, much better than an 8 series as far as battery life goes. But when it comes right down to power, sometimes the different applications too I've been running, they tend to lag and stutter, which I don't know if it's power optimization on BlackBerry's side of things, the Snapdragon processor or what. So while I want to really, really love this phone, the best I can do is sort of like it. I've reviewed lots of phones from ZTE, LG, different places, and most of the time I kind of feel I don't want to give up using the test phone. But to be honest, the only redeeming feature on this, in my opinion, is the keyboard once you've taken the time to set it up, because out of the box, it just doesn't work like it's supposed to. So the Blackberry KEYone, man, again, I want to love it, but I just have a hard time loving it. In my opinion, solid mid-range phone. Is it worth the price they're asking for off contract? Think it's a little bit hefty. I mean, this is not BlackBerry's first kick at the can when they came back with a physical keyboard, but I believe it could be TCL's first kick here. And keyboard's great, lots of things to like about it, but there's definitely lots of things, a few things not to. Convenience key sucks. Even sometimes the power key is just, it's sticky, or just is like, feels like it's stuck down or something. Just a few issues with, I don't know. Maybe it's my device, maybe it's just build quality overall. The best we can give it is a bronze award at BCC Hardware, which we don't even have bronze. It's either gold or silver, and below that it's like, well, take your chances. And with this phone, unfortunately, I'm just going to say, take your chances. You might love it, but you might be like me and can't wait to go back to your regular phone. Once again, this is Ben Hyde here for BCC Hardware, taking a look at the Blackberry KEYone Black Edition, which this version is 64 gigs, which is fantastic for storage, but I don't want to use it long enough to fill it up.